What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. The England lineups are out. We're going to be talking about that as well as also the latest with Palace. As you can see from the title, Sessègnon is on agenda. As its release clause, we've got a bit more news on that that's come out today. John Textor, could we be seeing his shares being sold internally, and also an Adam Wharton update? As always, if you do enjoy it, we don't ask for much, but if you can hit the like button and subscribe, that will be much appreciated. T, I'll be honest, I don't think we've started this early on a stream ever, in terms of not the time, but actually being on time. Like, we started literally, maybe we was like 5 seconds late. It feels weird. Like, we're just waiting there thinking, like, is there anything else that we need to be doing before we start the stream?
Hey, I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Better
to be ready and prepared then.
Exactly. Let's quickly talk about the England lineup before we actually get into the Palace news, because it does relate to the Palace news side of things as well. We expected this lineup to be what Gareth Southgate will be starting the Euros with. In terms of the Palace players that are there, Gahey, he's the only one that's starting. Mainu is selected over Wharton, if you look at it like that. And then Eze, of course, I didn't really expect him to be selected, but he's also on the bench as well. Just your thoughts on that?
I think I'm surprised about both of those. I mean, if this is supposed to be like the team that they plan on fielding, I was surprised to see Gordon selected before somebody like Eze. I don't know, for some reason I felt like somebody else would be there instead of Gordon. If not,
that's a very good season though.
Not better than Eze.
Is that your Palace bias, do you think? Or
okay, I mean, did he have a better season than Eze? Is my question.
Better season than Eze? That's a very good question. I don't know if it's as straightforward as that. I'll be honest.
And that's what I mean. I was surprised.
Eze had a few games where he wasn't. I'm not saying he has to be 10 out of 10 every single game, but yeah, Eze had.
I'm sure that
Gordon had a very good season as well.
I'm sure that Gordon probably wasn't, at the races, but I mean, I guess it's not necessarily all of what I thought. I mean, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess it makes sense because Bellingham's not there yet either. Why there's certain selections being made too, because if Bellingham steps in, maybe Palmer bumps out and takes Gordon's spot. I don't know. So
yeah, overall season, yes, but Eze is in hotter form. I think that's a very good judgment. Maybe Gordon did have the better season overall, but Eze's form is on form. But then again, look, let's see. We started on time, so no one will be missing the England game. We'll be talking about Palace, and after all of this, we can all head over to watch England play. Of course, some of you are probably watching a replay, so you might have seen the game already. So we'll see. We'll see who actually plays better. Isha, welcome to the channel. We're still growing the community here, but thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Great to have you on board. For right now we're just talking about news, but when the season starts, there's going to be way more content, and even maybe during the off season as well. But welcome to the channel and join the community. Chad is saying sorry, but can you wish my country good luck? We're playing against Nigeria.
Who's your country?
Who's Nigeria playing against? I literally saw the fixture list, but
I have no idea.
I don't even. Let me quickly. Oh, South Africa.
Africa. Okay, right on.
That should be a good game. That starts at 8 p.m. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one as well. Everyone's happy, man. This is good. This is a good thing about Palace. Like, everyone right now is happy. That's what we want, team, man. Everyone's happy.
Good time.
Chat, great mood. Want to talk about Palace. Looking forward to the England game.
It's a good time to be a Palace fan.
Exactly. And also, if you support England, very good time to be an England fan as well, because you just combine both of them together.
Facts.
So let's see what happens with that. But look, let's get into the news. As always, if you do have any questions, let us know by putting a Q and a dot before it. If it's relative to the topic, as always, we'll answer it as we talk about it. If it's not, we'll answer it towards the end of the show. If you're enjoying it, like and subscribe, people. Thank you so much for all your continuous support. Now let's get into the first bit of the news that's come out today in terms of transfers and incomings, a player that we've already spoke about, and that is Ryan Sessegnon, who has just been released by Tottenham Hotspur. Edmund Brack has said the following. He said that Crystal Palace are looking to sign a fullback competition this summer, with Ryan Sessegnon a name under consideration following his following his release from Tottenham. It's still early. It's still early. Palace news wise, we jumped in an hour early because of the England game, so I'm still trying to freshen up. But we've been speaking about Sessègnon. The chat's been speaking about Sessègnon. Palace fans in general have as well, and we've got our first name drop. From a journalist who's pretty reliable as well, that he's under consideration from Palace.
Mm-hmm.
Not a surprise, is it? Considering that it's a free transfer, his age as well.
It's one of those things when so many things come together, pieces. I mean, you checks off so many boxes. It just doesn't make sense for it not to be something that could happen. You know, he's a young Premier League experienced player in a position of need for us right now on the side of death and competition. And he's free. Like it makes too much sense for us not to have him on our radar. And it's almost like we can claim it, Palace fans, chat, me, you, D, everybody. We can claim it that we spoke into existence too. You know, because it wasn't reports out there. It wasn't reports out there. It wasn't reports out there. We kind of like talked it up. So shout out to us for that.
Yeah. And I mean, I've said the following. My stance is that if he's happy being a backup option / in competition with Mitchell, I'm fine with it. For me personally, if I was in issues, of course, I'm not Sessègnon, so he knows better than me how he feels. But I would like to probably play regular first team football, which I don't think we can guarantee him that at Palace with Mitchell being there and Mitchell being on form under Glasner. But then again, for me, if the wages are fine, if he's if he's okay with the competition, he's willing to go have a fight with Mitchell for that spot, then 100% consider him. But of course, there's a twist to it, and that is the fact that he's had loads of injury concerns. There is that element as well, and I think that's where the wages are very important, especially the contract length as well. He's been out for a while with that hamstring injury. Is that a concern to you when you talk about competition? Because you do want depth options there that are pretty much reliable as well. You don't want him to be injured all the time.
It's not as much of an injury, issue for me now because he's had surgery to correct it. So I think that's going to help him out a lot more as far as those injuries and things. We have shown a really good propensity for keeping guys on the pitch lately too, as far as conditioning and our physios and things. We're not asking him to come in and play first team minutes. So it's not like we're having to worry about him putting too much stress on his body and things like that.
But we are in a way though, no T? Like he might not directly play, but he could be called up any moment. God forbid if anything happens to Mitchell.
Right. And I agree. And I think he's been through enough, through his recovery, the surgeries and things that, it's a low risk, high reward situation. You're bringing him in for free. We talk about the fact of, would he be okay with competing and him looking for first team football? I think he's in a position in his career where he can't call those shots. You know what I mean?
I think someone would take the gamble and playing first team football, maybe at a lower level.
Exactly, and that maybe there's the trade-off. Maybe there's a trade-off. Maybe he doesn't see himself as a championship level team anymore, player anymore. You know what I mean? Which makes sense. I mean, when he's on and when he's healthy, he's an extremely formidable player. So maybe that's what it could be.
He's still young, he's 24, but he was so highly rated. He played a lot of games. We spoke about yesterday in terms of stats after joining.
He was the championship player of the year they got.
Yeah, he was very good, man. He was very good. He was meant to be the next big upcoming thing, and then things just took a turn. But for that reason, I'm willing to take that gamble. I'm really
for sure.
I think it makes sense. There's a lot of upside on a free transfer here. And as long as we don't give him, and we won't give him a long enough contract, and we play by our book, say a year or 2 years, and see how things go, then I'm willing to take that because we can make some nice profit if things go to plan. I think Sessègnon, still, when you look at his age, I know injuries are concerned, but there's a player there. There is a player there. 100%. It's just someone needs to take it out and he needs to perform, which he hasn't really had opportunity at Tottenham. So I think me and T do think that he's good. Even for free as well. I think it's a bit more riskier than the likes of Kamada or Lerma, who are ready. There's no real concerns with Sessègnon. There is that question marks about his injury concerns, etc. But I'm still, if it was up to me, and if you know, of course, if he fits what we want to do, then I will take that gamble. I'll take that gamble on Sessegnon. Colin's saying just worried about his fitness, which is understandable. Animal's saying I think Sessegnon would fancy the battle for the position.
I would hope so.
How much wages are realistic? 50 to 60,000 pounds. That is a very hard question to answer.
I would think it's probably in that range, maybe a little bit more. The thing is, he never got an extension when he was at Tottenham, so he was still on the contract that he signed upon coming from Fulham when he wasn't a proven first team Premier League player. So it makes me think that his wages won't be crazy. You know what I mean?
Don't really overpay on players. According to Michael, saying his wage at Spurs was £55,000 a week. Now, I don't think we'll pay higher than that because then again, hold up. This is what I was thinking. When it's a free transfer, he might want to demand a bit more, or it might be a signing on bonus that he might want because it's a free transfer. So, you know,
which is feasible because that bonus wouldn't be anything compared to what a transfer fee for him would have been had he not been free. So
exactly. So let's see. All cover for Mitchell, and that's what it is. Mitchell needs cover. Cover
/ competition, however you want to put it. He needs it. He needs it, and we need it because we don't need to be constantly saying to ourselves, man. But if Tariq goes down, we're in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, we need to be in a situation where we can be confident in the players that can step in, like, and play in the event that we lose somebody.
Yeah. So look, let's see what happens. We've been manifesting it here, talking about it with you lots of questions like every single day, and here we are. We've got our first bit of rumor about it, and I guess it depends on what other names are on the list, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's unrealistic. I don't know.
No. I think it's highly realistic compared to some of these rumors. I mean, I think it's more realistic that we go out and get Ryan Sessegnon than if we get Antonio Nusa, than if we get Matthias Sule. Like those are, I feel like those are more high level pie in the sky moves than bringing a guy in for free from Tottenham who's had a checkered injury past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sounds more Palace than us going out and paying 30 million for Matthias Sule.
Yeah, exactly. It does. So yeah, let's see what happens. But let's move on to the next bit of news today that's come out, and that is on Eze, who's not starting today for England. According to the Daily Mail, Eze has a release clause of £60 million, but the interesting thing is, with additional add-ons in the region of around £8 million, Eze has genuine interest from a number of Premier League clubs, including Spurs. See, I mean, the £6 million, we've kind of known about that for a while, but the extra £8 million in add-ons, I'll be honest, let us know in the chat as well. But it's weird because every other day my feeling is different towards it. £60 million is a lot of money, but then when you think about the hype that he has right now around him, it still feels like we can get more. It feels a bit lower. It feels on the lower
and then you look at you look at the guys that are making moves and the caliber of players that like he's in league with, and the money that they get. Like Jack Grealish was $100 million, £100 million.
Yeah,
it's exactly what are you talking about. So
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. 20% of that goes to QPR. Yeah. I expect a lot, even with Wharton, which we're going to talk about. You know, there will be the sell-on clause from that. But you know, £68 million for Eze, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But when you include the English tax, when you include the potential, the talent, it just still somehow feels a bit less. Well, look, some people
it does.
Right, Atta saying £68 million is about right. And then we got Isha saying Eze is more like 70 to 80 million pounds for me. So,
and you also have to think about his contract, because contract length plays into how much a player is worth, right?
Yeah.
And he just signed another long-term deal.
Exactly. Sign extension.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I just feel like if we're going to keep it in line with all the things that we see, let's keep it in line with all the other things that we see. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that we should be getting 100 million for Eze, but there's a reason why Eze made this Euros team and Jack Grealish didn't.
Yeah, exactly. George saying, I think Glasner would like him as he has the pace to go forward and would therefore like him whipping the ball some attempts. I think he's talking about Sessegnon.
Sessegnon, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as he stays fit. I just want to quickly answer this from Twister as well. He's saying Paddy needs 5 starters, not bench warmers, only way to progress. I don't think we need to get
who are we buying right now, Twisted?
Yeah, I don't personally, for me, I don't think we need. I know what you mean, but I think our starting 11 is solid. I think
that's what I'm saying
right now is quality depth. Not
who are we buying right now that we're replacing in our starting 11?
If we're talking about European pushes, I think this squad has got enough in the starting 11 to go push for Europe.
We just need the depth, which most people that see our team that have played against us that have watched this newest iteration will say that is a European quality team. They just need the depth.
Yeah. Twist is saying joining Spurs will kill Eze's career. So he's been linked with Spurs heavily, T.
Yes. He was last year too, and they didn't want to pay for him.
Yeah. And also,
it was less money that they would have had to pay last year.
When you look at the players that they've been linked with, I don't know how much better they're going to be next season. It is so mid. I saw a Spurs fan mention and say if we finish with this window, and they had like Hudson-Odoi there, they had like other players that weren't really like wow. It's just such a mid thing. I don't know if that's the best move for him. I think he can eventually join a bigger club, but it's not only him. The report suggests there are other Premier League clubs interested, which will be interesting.
The best thing for Eze with going to Tottenham is the fact that he gets to work with Postecoglou, and he could do some pretty impressive things with him.
Exactly. When he's saying going Spurs killed Madison's international career, it's not really wrong because he's not going to Euros. It's funny, and as it is. There's something wrong with that team. I don't know what it is, but there needs to be an investigation on Tottenham as a football club because, they're cursed. I don't know who cursed them, what happened, but some type of black magic being done on that team, man. Exactly. So let's see what happens with that. But look, Philip saying, can't we give Eze a better contract than alter his release clause to at least £8 million? Well, look, we've done that last year with Elise, not Eze. Maybe
I think we did it with Eze. I think we did with Eze too when he signed his new deal. Well. It just probably went up from 30 something to 68, where it's apparently being reported.
And part of me saying, that would be nice, but if you're Eze and Elise, would you really want to sign another deal and push it to £80 million? Because like that, it suits Palace. That would be fantastic for us. But for them, I guess it depends on next season. If there was
how much you believe. It's about how much you believe, I think.
Yeah, because £80 million, that makes it more difficult for them to get a move away from the club. And it puts us in more power than them. I think £60 million gives us still a good amount of money, but also gives them a realistic opportunity to move on. I'm not saying that they're not worth £8 million, but of course, when you slap 80 on there, it's more difficult than 60.
And that's probably part of the negotiating part of the contract. Talking through that, because we could have presented 80, and they were like, the agents are probably like, hey, can we get it around 60? And he's like, okay, well, can we get the additions to be about 8? You know what I mean? So it's probably all about the negotiation phase of things. I mean, still a healthy amount of money to be getting for a player, though.
Exactly. It is healthy, but it still feels low, especially like
for him, absolutely.
And Elise, it still feels low, which is crazy. We bought them barely for anything. Let's quickly talk about this as well. Can you guys explain the gentleman's agreement that Eze has? I don't understand it. We mentioned this last week or this week. We're here every day, so it's hard. But recently, let's just say that we're here every day, so it's hard to keep up with what day exactly we announced this. But there was a report suggesting that there's a gentleman's agreement. I don't know if there is. I mean, there's a release clause. If that's met, then fair enough.
First of all, this is professional sports with millions and millions of pounds, euros, dollars on the line. Ain't nobody doing no gentleman's bet, no gentleman's agreements. Let's be quite honest with you. These are multi-million-dollar entities and multi-million-dollar player brands that are at stake here. They're not doing gentleman's agreements. It's not happening.
Yeah, they've got release clause. I think if it's met, then it's met. Then he goes. Like, we're not gonna. That's what it is. We just have to show them the ambition, because if it's met, if they want to stay, they can stay. It's not like they have to go. It's not like they have to pick between the clubs. But then we have to show that ambition to keep them at a football club, which So far, it's looking good, but of course, we haven't had that official announcement just yet, probably due to the international break, which makes sense because some of these players are away, especially Chad Riyad, who's away with Morocco. I don't know.
They play today, actually.
Yeah, exactly. They play. Yeah, I don't know about Kamada as well. So, yeah, I guess it depends. But
Kamada played yesterday, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he played. Yeah,
he played. He started. He started for them. Yeah.
So the announcements will be after the international break. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. But talking about announcements, let's talk about John Textor, because according to Ed Aaron, he is confident that the partners at Palace would buy his 45% stake if needed to purchase Everton shares. Otherwise, he's willing to wait until mid-July when indications of interest are due from bankers reign. The big thing about this, of course, we know that Textor wants to sell up. He hasn't hid away from that, but he's confident that those at Palace might buy his shares if needs be. We spoke about yesterday, Blitzer selling his shares in Augsburg over in Germany, whether they could buy into it. But yeah, it seems like by the day that there might be an internal takeover, it might not be an external group. But if there is an external group that comes into Palace, based on his report, it seems like we will know around mid-July, so in about a month's time.
Yeah, I found it interesting that the article said that he's confident that his partners, plural, would buy his stake.
Be Harris and Blitzer.
Yeah, and not one of his partners, as in a singular person. So it makes sense that, like, once again, pieces are starting to fit together. You know, Blitzer selling stuff, selling off Augsburg. Now it's coming into to form that Textor believes that, you know, his partners will be willing to buy his shares. Like, certain actions are starting to line up here that points towards it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It does. But yeah, let's see what happens with the Textor situation, because it's, especially if you want to buy into Everton, things kind of need to happen a bit faster than usual. So
yeah, because it's a lot of people that are interested apparently ever since that 777 deal fell apart.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, I was reading an article that said that the reason why he's trying to move with such expedience is because of the fact that with the 777 deal falling apart, a lot of suitors are lining up to try to take their place. And that's why he's trying to make that move. That's why he put the offer out there early with Moshiri, so that he could try and move quick before the queue got too long.
Yeah. But you know, the biggest thing about this is that he feels a bit confident about an internal takeover. And two, if it's not him, we should find out around mid-July in terms of the groups that are interested, which for me is the biggest thing. I genuinely wonder who would be interested in buying Palace. And that we won't know till later on down the line, around halfway through pre-season. Now let's move on to Adam Wharton, who's not starting today for England, but according to the Evening Standard, Manchester City have identified Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton as a long-term target. It's not going to be the first time, it's not going to be the last time we talk about him, but that's come out today. Bayern Munich, we've spoke about previously. Man City now is long-term target. It's not a target for the summer. Even reports suggested that Bayern Munich are not going to be bidding this summer, but it's normal. I mean, who wouldn't have Adam Wharton on their shortlist if you're a big club?
Yeah, he'll be on the short list of clubs for the next between 1 and 3 years to try and go after, depending on value, depending on how many years he has left on his contract. So, I mean, I feel like you could have wrote that article about all the top 6 teams in the Premier League. I mean, they played against him.
Won him as well.
Yeah, they're playing against him, so he's definitely on their radars.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of Arsenal fans want him as well. So, you know, he's eventually going to join a big club one day. And also, I think Blackburn will be due a sell-on clause as well.
Like 15. I think they get like 15%, something like
15, yeah, which is a good amount of money. But thankfully, there's no release clause there. And we have, well, hopefully, unless there is, we don't know. At least. Exactly, you never know, but I hope there isn't. Because that Elise one last summer, oh my day, last summer was absolutely horrific. I don't know when exactly it started, but when did it actually start? All these Elise rumors and stuff. I just feel like it never.
I feel like it started shortly after the window opened, because that report dropped that his release clause was only 30 mil.
It was depressing last summer, man. Last summer felt so much depressing compared to this summer, especially how things have ended, how things are looking right now. But let's see, things can take a twist as well. With
And
Palace.
we had so much less in place and so much less certainty at this time last year. I mean, we had gotten rid of Vieira. Roy came in for the last few matches, did well, and we were still in a holding phase trying to figure out who was going to be our manager this time last year. So I think that's why there was so much anxiety, because with so many things being in flux, it's like, yo, we could lose any of these guys at any time because we don't know. They don't know who they're going to be playing for. We don't know who's going to be managing them.
So many question marks. Even now, there are question marks, but it's positive ones rather than negative ones. Philip saying Wharton could be £100 million player if he carries on as he's doing, plus England international. Yeah. Like it's as long as he continues what he's doing, I think it could be more than that. Declan Rice went for £100 million. Wharton, I mean, they're both young, but at least £100 million, which is scary, which is a very scary amount of money when you consider the other players and how much they're worth as well. We could be one rich club, and it all depends on how we can invest. But then again, you don't want to sell these players. Ideally, it sounds great as a business model, but you want to keep these 100 to 60 to 80 million pound players and become that team, become that force. So now it's about us trying to keep them at a football club. Look, we're going to move on to the questions now. If you have any questions, put a Q and a dot like. We'll be answering these questions and we'll answer them before we wrap up the show. Let's start off with Unfortunate. You're saying, what do you think about Liverpool supposedly wanting to target Elise? No surprise there. I think he sounds like a very good replacement for Salah when he does eventually. He's old as well.
The thing about it is, more than likely, they're going to have to pay a whole lot of money for it, because from what I hear, Salah's going to make the move possibly to like a Saudi Arabia, and they're going to get it paid a ton for him to move there. So we know y'all got the money. So it's like, oh, he went there for almost 200 million. Bet we need 100.
And that's why when we spoke about Musa yesterday, that's why we want him early, because that's how other clubs think as well. If Palace were to sell Elise for £60 million or £70 million, you're going to say, oh, well, we could know that you got the money, just like Liverpool sold Salah for a good amount of money.
For the same reason why we sitting here talking about Matthias Sule, going to get him early, or possibly getting Nusa for the amount that he's for. It's like, because if we don't, and we sell one of these guys, and we sell Gahey for however many million, they're like, well, y'all got some money, so price just went up.
Yeah. Animal saying, is it true that only a Champions League club can activate Elise's release clause? I don't know for certainty, but I've heard that rumor as well.
Yeah, I've heard that for him and Eze. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's why,
we don't know how true that is.
Chelsea and Man United might not be able to do much with him.
Exactly. We found out today that Eze's release clause is actually more than £60 million, 60 plus 8 million add-ons, so potentially around 68 million pounds. In the end of 70, but still not 70. Irv saying, does T's family also support Palace? T, do they?
Do now.
They do now.
My wife.
Oh, they supported Brighton before something.
No, I mean, we support Crystal Palace and St. Louis City SC. So here,
your local team,
but yeah, they do. My wife's got her own kit now because she likes Elise, so she's got an Elise kit.
I heard that completely wrong. I thought you said your wife's got her own kid, and I was thinking,
no, her own kit. She has a Palace kit. No, she has an Elise. She has an Elise kit because she likes Michael Elise.
What's that show over in the US? The guy, the white guy with the beard. The Family Disputes. Catch Me Outside. You know that meme that she went on it. What's that guy? Oh, Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil.
Oh yeah, I thought we had to change Dr. Phil after you said that. I thought what was going on?
Nah.
But yeah,
yes, they are definitely fans. My son celebrates goals for Palace harder than I do now.
Well, thankfully, under Glasner, there's going to be hopefully more goals to celebrate than we had before. Animal say we have free transfers and good small deals happening and likely to continue. Do you think we make a big money signing? It's not out of the question. we didn't really think it, but based on the reports, it doesn't seem like it's out of the questions because Somerville, who's been mentioned, Antonio Nusa from Club Brugge, who's been mentioned, that's around £30 million for both of these players. So as an Elise or as a replacement, it seems like we're not going to go directly cheap. Like we might spend a good chunk of that money back into players. But now, whether we do it in this window or not, that's a question that I can't answer. But T, are you bit more leaning towards that we might make a big money signing, or does
I think it really just depends on comings and goings for us. For instance, if we end up selling and losing Mark Gahey, I think a big money signing at center back is to come, a la Maxence Lacroix move from Wolfsburg. Now that won't be like huge money, but I mean probably be like 20-ish million, which is where our highest end transfers have been the past few years. So I could definitely see that happening. But I think it really just depends on what our retention of players looks like.
Yeah, Boomslang CA says, do we really need a big money signing? We aren't really there for yet needing one. I don't think we do. Right now, we need depth. And I don't think that needs to be a big money signing. Quality depth.
I'm liking what we're doing right now in the market. Let me say that. If we continue this trend with what we currently have as a squad, as a team, I like what we're doing right now. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, we don't need it right now. Twisted saying, what would it take to convince our stars to stay? Ambition. Really, it sounds.
I mean, that's pretty much the biggest piece. That's the biggest piece.
And you show that ambition by bringing in them depth players. It's not like, oh, these players think they're great and they don't want anyone else at the football club. Anderson's mentioned himself, like it'll be nice to have a few additions, because we do need that depth. We need that competition to push all these players more, and competition to make sure that if there's any injuries that these players can step up, or rotations when some of these players drop form. And that's what we need right now. I think what this Palace side are missing our depth. Got a manager sorted, the starting 11 sorted pretty much. It's just bringing in them players and fitting in the last bits of the puzzle and then trying to push for it. So I think it seems like we are going down that route based on the reports. We're on the verge of announcing 2 players already.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's going to help, we've already been doing to convince them, is the success as a team that they could have as a unit towards the end of the season. The proof that they could be something special has already been laid out with the way
that's
that they finished the season
already. Yeah,
like you're beating Liverpool's, you're beating Newcastle's, like you're beating Aston Villa's, like
you're destroying some teams.
Like you're winning at a high level against some of the best quality teams in your league, and it's like, hey, this is what we're capable of. Guess what this could look like over an entire season? What we could achieve.
Exactly. So, and that is why it was so important to bring in Glasner at the time that we did, or even it would have been nice a bit earlier. But if Glasner was to join us this summer, I think right now the whole tone, even though it would be fantastic, the whole tune about these players staying or going, it changes. Because I think Glasner kind of had to prove himself to these players to say, you know what, you can be successful under me. And he's kind of answered that question. Like, he's got that good bond. Whereas if he joined now, then these players wouldn't know. They would be like, oh, do I want to risk another season with Palace? If I'm as early, say, I might as well join.
If the season just ended on a okay, like, if we won a couple, drew a couple, lost a few, you know what I'm saying? They probably wouldn't have a problem with moving on because they probably wouldn't have a feeling of what they're building could be something great. You know what I mean? Something we haven't seen at Palace ever. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, that's what we're on the verge of right now. I think that's why it's probably such an interesting proposition, because they have a chance to possibly make history at this club that the club, the fan base, nobody has ever seen done before.
Yeah. And Glasner's helped out, of course. Colin saying, have you heard anything on our new sponsors yet? It's a very good question. No, I haven't. Nope. But
they announced some new sponsor today that was like a freedom card sponsor. My Guava is the name of the sponsor. They had a Twitter post about it. Yeah, for Palace. But it's not the front of the shirt sponsor. It's like what do they call it, a freedom card or something like that. The official freedom card sponsor. I don't know. I've never heard of it. It's like but the company is called My Guava.
Okay, yeah, My Guava is partnership. the club's official affinity card partner.
Affinity card, yeah. I don't know what an affinity card is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's see. Well, the front of the shirt we don't know yet. But yeah, that's a very good shout. It's one to look for as well. Chad is saying, do you think we need another depth on the defense? Holding is good, but wow, he's so injury prone. Well, we are getting that depth on the defense by Chad Riyad. And I think
right now, Holden's the fifth center back. So
exactly.
I think that's a good person to have in your 5 slot right now.
Yeah.
Now, if we lose a guy, then I think we need to add another.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we're sorted. I think 5 centre halves is good enough. Yep. I think that is what we need. With 3 starting, 2 as rotation for injuries, for form, for cup. I think that's realistic. You don't want to have 6 centre backs. Then it's going to be hard trying to, give them minutes. I think 5 is realistic, and I think Holden is still part of that. I know he was injured last year, but I don't think he's a bad defender. I think he's a very good depth option to have at Palace. I know we debated this before about his price tag. In the season review show, funny enough, all the things talking about Rob Holding was like the biggest topic.
Holding got like a 7-minute segment.
Exactly. We've done a whole segment on Rob Holding out of all the players, which is not planned. But yeah, I think he's a good option.
For sure.
Not everyone's, but yeah. So I think he plays a role next season. But look, people, the England game is going to start in about less than 10 minutes time. But if you have enjoyed this and are watching it live, if you can hit the like button, that would be much appreciated. Let's try hit 200 likes. As always, if you're new here and want to, grow and join the community, subscribe. It takes a second of your time to not miss out future content. Thanks to every single one of you that's watching it live. Also to those watching on replay as well. That's it from me and T. Until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.